How about now? Hello, good evening everyone. It's BremSter and hopefully now everything is working. Wow, it's amazing how every time you do anything that changes a setting on your computer, everything gets broken. But I'm glad I remembered to check because Windows did a forced update on me, but I've been able to get everything working. It all looks good. I'm going to return to the Artisan of Glimmith and try and do some more puzzles. And yeah, I'm really enjoying this game. This is just so much fun. So let's go in. I've solved 268 puzzles and apparently I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds more to go. This is one of the best designed puzzle games I've ever seen. So what have we got here? That's a 4. Let's try and find something a little gentler. There's a 1. Okay, so these are all the border puzzles, or palisade as they're called. So I'm still trying to figure out the logic on these. So I cannot put a border here because there's no opposite borders. I cannot put a border here. I cannot put a border here or here. So I know that this is all part of the same region. I know this is part of the same region and this is part of the same region. Now, once there's no border here, there must be a border here, and this region must continue. This is a different region, so this is a single cell region. Now there must be an L here, which now must be here, and now this is all part of the same region. But this is a different region, so there's the L, and this is part of the same region. Okay, I've already got my L here, so this continues. There is, whoops, there is no region border here or here, so this must continue to here and here. And this, there is no border here, so this must continue to here, but there must be a region border here, so this is a different region. But this is broken. Okay, so let's... What have I done wrong here? I'm going to restart this whole puzzle, including clearing all the notes. Let's try this again, because I'm obviously getting this wrong. I haven't understood palisade at all. This must come up and must go across because I can't put any more borders in. Now, because I can't put a border here, I must put a border here, and this must continue. This must be a different color region. Therefore, this ends this region. Now, there must be an L, and I can't put it here. So that's the L, and this must continue. This is a different color region. This must go up, and that's a different region, because the reason this must go up is I can't put a border opposite another region. I can't put a border opposite or opposite. Yeah, so this must continue this way. I can't put a border opposite. So this must continue this way, and that's the L. So this is a different color region. Now I can't put a border opposite, so this continues, and that does that. And there's the L, so this must continue. I can't put a border opposite. So this is part of the same region. I haven't figured this out yet. Could this go this way? This isn't yellow. If yellow went down, it could end, and that would be fine. If yellow didn't come down, this would take both of those. And I don't see the problem with that. Oh, no, this must come into here because this is the different region. But because... And now that must be a border. This must be a different color to both yellow and orange. But what's now happening in here? I mean, I could just make all of this green. Like, but what's wrong with making that yellow, that orange? Oh, because that would force that to be a border, that to be a border, and yeah. Because, okay, logically thinking about this, this has to be green. If yellow came down, I'd have a border here, and I can't have borders on opposite sides. So I can't have a border here, so green must go this way. I can't have a border here, so green must come this way, and the only thing that can fill that is green. Actually, why couldn't this be another color? Because I've already got the two angles. Right. Now I'm starting to understand. Okay. Okay, so this must come into here. This needs to be an L. So, right. There must be a border opposite anything that isn't a border. There must be a border opposite anything that isn't a border. There can't be a border opposite anything that is a border, but there's no border here, so there must be a border and must be a border, and that becomes a square. Now, this is all part of the same region. And because this is already its L, that's all part of the same region. Okay. But with these, if I did this, this would come into here, this would do this, and what's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? I don't know. This might have been the thing I looked at before. Is there a problem with that? There's no border here, so this is the same. Which means there must be a border here. Which... yeah, I'm not grokking this yet. What's the trick? Oh, hang on. This is all 4. I missed that. So that's got its 3, and that must come into here. That's got its 2, and that must come into here. But this must now have 2. This must be a border. So orange and yellow must be different. So yellow must come down. So this must have a border because I don't have a border here. One of those two is a border. Okay. One of these two must be a border. It can't be this, because then these would connect up and those would be the same region. could it be that? I don't see why not. And once I do that, I think either of these are possible. So, well, this can't go this way, because then these would be the same region. So that's a border, and now this must continue this way, and now it can't go this way. And because it goes this way, that must be it. And that's continued, so this must go. And now because it's gone this way, this must be a border. And this can't go this way. Maybe it can. I mean, it can't connect to this. But it could possibly run in here. But this is a 3-piece, and this can't go this way. It can't go this way. So that's a border, which means this must go this way. And these are different, so that must go this way. It can't go back this way, so there's its L, and it must go that way, and that completes. This has now got its 3. This doesn't have its 3, but I can't do any 3. Like, I can't do that, for example, because it would, whoops. I can't put a border in here because that would make this a 4. So that must be the 3. This must come out now, making that the 3. This must come out now. This 3 is done. If I make that the 3, yeah, I have to come up and then do that. That's very strange. Wow, everyone came in and left immediately. Must have an opposite, those must go through. Must have an opposite, so those must go through. Must have an opposite, so those must go through. Must have an opposite, must have an opposite, must have an opposite, must have an opposite. But that means, of course, these must go through, these must go through, these must go through, must have an opposite. So that must connect up. Must have an opposite. So these go through. So now this goes through. This doesn't have to come out. But this is, if this has 2 borders this way, this has 2 borders this way. Can that work? Yeah. But can that work? I mean, could I do that even? No, because that, no, these must be facing the same direction. Could that work? No, because then blue would run in this way. Because blue would loop in and touch itself all through here. So that can't work. So it must be this way. Which means blue must come through here. Yellow must come through here, and that completes it. That's very strange. I have restored the palisade window, but there's a lot more to do. Is this all part of the palisade or part of a new area? It's hard to tell. So this must take all of those. Every region has an area of exactly 6. There's a border here, and that must run through here. This is a different color and must come through here, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That must be the 6, and that must be the 6. This is a different color and must come out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this must be the yellow so that we don't touch through the borders. These ones are a little more tricky. If I did that, that doesn't work. So the opening can't come through here because it would be that. This would come out and trap. So it can't do that. If it did that, we've got exactly the same problem. That would come out and we've got a problem. So it can't do that. Oh, can't do that. And it can't do that. So it must do that. This then comes out. This is all a different color, which can come out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bam. There we go. So now this one, I imagine, is the same. If it was, oh no. It's either here or here. But if it's there, if it's here, I can see how it works because I could just split it into 2 areas of 6, one here and one here. But if I put it here, that's much harder to do, but I can't see that it's impossible. Actually, that's also possible. No, it's not. That is not possible. Because that would automatically create another area of separation. Because if I did this, this would be one color. That's not possible to do. And it looks like it is possible to do. But how do I make these the same color? Because if the border is here, these have to be the same color because I can't, and all of those are the same color. But now these have to be the same color as that in an area of 6. While this is yellow and the whole thing is broken. So that doesn't work. So this isn't the border. This is the border. That's an area of 6 and that's an area of 6. Oof. Right. All regions have an area of exactly 3. So if this did this, that would be an area of 3. And that wouldn't work because I'd have to do either that and grow this area or that and grow this area. And this area wouldn't be a region of exactly 3. So I can't do that. And this must go in that direction. And that's the area of 3. Now, does the same logic apply here? Yes. I can't do it in that direction, or that's an area of 3. That has to go in that direction now, and that's an area of 4. So these 2 borders must do that, and that's an area of 3, and that's an area of 3. That's very cool. Okay. Now, this is now an area of 3 because I've already got my 2 borders. And that's an area of 3. Bam. Right. I have bammed. I've got one of my borders, so this must come down here now. And this is an area of 4, so this must take up one of them. If I put the border here, then this has to come that way. And that area of 4 is cut off. That doesn't work. I have to put the border there. That comes that way. And there's the area of 3. And that's an area of 3. Now, looking at this symbol. I can see multiple ways this could be done. If I do that, that becomes an area of 3. then this could be an area of 3, and there's all sorts of possibilities. If I do it that way, that could be an area of 3, and that could be an area of 3. And that's broken, but it's kind of hard to see. If I did that, that would be an area of 3, and that would be broken. Okay, so I can't do this because then the only way of doing that is an area of 3, and this is the wrong shape. So I can't do it with the opening up. If I do it with the opening that way, it doesn't work because that becomes an area of 3, that becomes an area of 3. This comes out, and then in order to have an L, I have to do that, and then that has the wrong count of borders. So all of that doesn't work. So I can't do it with an opening going up. I can't do it with an opening going that way. So the opening must go down, and it must do that. This then must come out, and it can't go up. It must come down, because if it goes up, I've got exactly the same problem with this having the wrong number of borders. This is now an area of 3. This has got its count, and that's how you complete the puzzle. Wow! This is a T because I've got my 1 border. This is a T because I've got my 1 border. And all regions are exactly 4. So 1, 2, 3, and that grows by 1. I have to separate these cells. Because if I don't separate these cells, they've each got 1 border, and it doesn't matter where I draw the borders, they'd have to grow into an area of size 6. So if I did that, and I drew the border there and there, it would have to grow like this, and it becomes an area of size 6. So in order to keep it from growing 3 times out of each cell, I have to separate them. And now that's a 4 region, and that's a 4 region, and they're done. Now this is a 4 region, and I'm broken. No, I'm not. Not at all. That's a 4 region. That's a 4 region. That's a 4 region, and we're done. Terrified of this 4. Okay. This has no borders. 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 Could be the same shape, but this has no borders. This has no borders. This has no borders. And this has no borders. And this has no borders. This shape must be the same as this shape. What? Oh, this sort of rotation breaks me. Okay, so I'm going to clear all of this out. And start with that. Yellow, the thing is, it doesn't have to grow that way. Because purple could get its shape anywhere. But I have to put that shape into purple. Where can it get that shape? I don't like these ones. I really don't. This stuff I don't find fun. This doesn't... These ones really do feel like a trial and error puzzle rather than a logic puzzle. It's... Because there's no logic really about, oh, well, if it goes this way, that breaks something or anything. It's really just about, can you rotate these shapes in your head and make them fit? Like purple, like 2 with 4 with 3 would need that cell. So it can't be in there. Great, whatever. 2 with 4 with 3 with 1. That could be it. And then yellow would need a plus off to make that work. Yellow would need a plus off here, which works. But then I'd need to pick up those cells for purple, which I can't do. So that's just not it. Hooray. Who gives a damn? This is not solving. Because there's no, I've got to grow purple in a particular direction. It's just what fits. So there's no logical path here. So maybe it is put it all back in and then hope you can, it is just hope you can spot something. Because those all must be the same shapes. So somewhere in purple, I need to get that shape of yellow. I can't see this. Like, this requires you to be able to do rotational geometry of, like, 30 cells in your head. And if you just can't see this, it doesn't become a puzzle. It's not a puzzle, it's trial and error. Like, what's the logical way of solving this? Like, I ask anyone who ever watches this video, what is the logical next deduction? Because they've said you never need to do trial and error. So from at this point, like, you can look at this grid and say there is a deduction that can be made at one point that proves the next step. So you can always prove a step from information. Not just where does purple fit, but it has to be the next step is provable as true. That was one of the statements they made. So it's not just where can purple get this shape, and then can it connect up without there being a break. That's not what you do. You need to be able to make a logical step from this where the next step is provable as true. That is one of their tenets of the game. So I should be able to prove that purple can't go that way, or can't go that way, or can't go that way, or yellow can't go that way. By the tenet that they have stated in their description of the game, one of those is provable as not true. You can prove that one of those is not true. But I don't see how that is doable. And it's not just if this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then broken. It is, there is a logical step by what they've stated that proves that one path from here is broken. And it can be deduced from this point. Yeah, although this puzzle is making me go, I'm not sure I want to continue. Because I can't see a logical proof to be able to continue. I did do that. But purple and yellow are the things that we need to focus on. But so what? That's a rotational geometry thing. And if you can't... No. I mean, maybe if you could do sort of a rotation of a 30 shape pattern in your head. But what if you can't? I mean, 2, 4, 3, 2. So I could do that, and those pieces now match. And then I can just fill out those. No, I can't fill out those. I can do that. Then I can bring green into here. I can make that a single, and I can bring blue into here. That's a valid solution. One, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, it's not the same. I can't see this rotational pattern. I can't do this rotational pattern. Yeah, I can't do this. Yeah, I know purple needs to connect with something, but I can't replicate this pattern and rotate it in my head to figure out what it needs to connect with. Like, that's a 2, that's a 4, that's a 2. So that is one of the existing shapes. So that is one of the existing shapes. This isn't a puzzle. This is a... So if this was red, I could add a piece here and a piece here, which would be the equivalent of a piece here and a piece here. I could then add a piece here and a piece here. And that doesn't connect it up to blue. That's not the same connection. So if I was to use red, I'd add this piece here and this piece here to get this piece here and this piece here. And that doesn't connect it. Purple and blue are not in the same position, so that doesn't work. So that's not it. Now I could use the same shape here. I'm sorry, this is not a puzzle. And then I need to add those two, which I could do by adding those two. No, that doesn't work because that adds it to red, but I need to connect to purple. And I can't add those to green to connect to purple. So that doesn't work either. I used to have good spatial geometry before I had an accident many years ago. So either way, I need to add a piece like here and here, which I can't do. Or here and here. But if I add those, then I'm not connecting to a T-piece, cross piece. So that's not it. So I can't use that. So I've got that one. I've got that one. What other one do I have? That's it. So I have to use that one. No, I can't use that one. I have to use this one. Which means I need to add these pieces, which I can't do from so it would be that piece and that piece from red is the only way I could do it. I can't do it from green. Then I add that piece and that piece, but then I can't connect to a T-piece. That just doesn't work. Because from this piece, I connect those by connecting those. And then I'm in green and I have an overlap. There's nothing here. There's no logical path through this. This is just trial and error. There's no logic here, which is terrible. But these are the same shape. So what you're saying is I don't need to follow the rules. So I don't need those to be red. So I don't need to follow that rule. Or I don't need these to all be the same color. So I can have these be part of a shape, but not have to follow this rule. Right. in order to not use these shapes, in order to not use those shapes, right, these shapes, that's why I started with these shapes not existing. That's what I'm starting with. But there is nowhere for purple to get that shape. I can't draw this shape anywhere in the grid without running into another shape, which is going to break the pattern. I mean, there probably is, but it's not a logical solve. It's a, can I start in this cell and draw the shape? Yes or no? Can I start in this cell and draw the shape? Yes or no? Can I start in this cell and draw the shape? One of the first precepts they said in the game is you never need to guess. You never need to do anything. You can always start with the information you have, and the only information you have is this Gemini, and deduce the next step. So from here, I should be able to deduce exactly what the next step is. That's one of the precepts of the game. So I should be able to deduce either I can't go this way or I must go this way, or I can't go this way or I must go this way. How do I do that from here? How do I make the next deduction about what is true or false? Because this is a guessing puzzle, and they've said that is not needed. Because you draw these shapes in, absolutely required. Those shapes are required. But how do you make yellow must grow into the same shape as purple? So the only thing I could see you could do logically is try and figure out how this will map onto something. Now, you're right, it doesn't have to map exactly onto something, but how do you make it fit at all? Because otherwise you are just guessing. It's just a guessing game. Because if I connect yellow to orange, then I've got all sorts of stuff that I could do. If I connect yellow to red, I've got all sorts of stuff I could do. Now, purple. If I connect purple to orange, I must connect purple to either one of them. Because if I don't, this is size 10, this is size 10, but they're not the same shape. So purple must connect to either orange or red. If I connect purple to red, via some method, then is there a way of making that connect up with something? This is too close. So it'd have to, yellow would have to connect to blue. I mean, this would need to take that cell and that cell. It would need to take both of those, which it can't do. It just doesn't work. So it can't connect to red. So purple must connect to orange. And now I need to figure out how to make that shape fit. And it's not a match. not without going into that cell. So there's probably a way of doing this, but it's literally just like the best way to solve this puzzle is to cut out the shapes on a piece of paper so you can actually play with them rather than be limited to a screen. So the best way to solve this puzzle is to not play it in the game. This puzzle has ruined the game for me after like 20 hours of absolute amazement. This one puzzle has made me go, I think I'm done with this. And I want to remove this from my recommendation list. And really apologize to everyone who's purchased this game. This is a bad puzzle. Because it's not a puzzle. I mean, it's basically a jigsaw puzzle. It's not a logic puzzle. There's no logic in this. How do I draw this shape, which is an awkward shape somewhere else in the grid that can then connect to purple? The only way I could see of doing it is there. But that then can't connect to purple. I mean, it can, but I can't grow yellow into the same shape. I mean, I could then grow it this way and into those, but then I need to grab this way into those, and to grab those 3 cells, I would need to grab, what is it? I can't rotate it. I just can't see it. So from there, I would be grabbing that cell, which is that cell, 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 and that cell, which is that cell. Then I'd need that cell, which is that cell, that cell, which is that cell, that cell, which is that cell. Then I'd need that cell, which is that cell, that cell, which is that cell, that cell, which is that cell, and I'm off the board. It doesn't work. So unless I ignore one of these rules. So the way to solve this puzzle is to run purple into red and check progress. There's a mistake. Great. So then I run purple into orange and check progress. And that's the way it has to be done. There's no logical path to this. This is a pure guessing puzzle. Now, I showed earlier that it couldn't run into red and it had to run into orange. Because if you run it into red, there's no way of making that shape. So it had to run into this. But then this also is a complete nightmare. because I mean, I could make this the plus, with that being the plus. Then I need 3, 3, 4, 4, 2, 2, 1 and 1. So if I run this into here and this into here, are those now the same shape? If I bring that in, and that to there, are those the same shape now? I have 1, 1. No, it's not the same shape. It's not even close. 1, 3, 4. No, it's not even close. That's just not it. Well, what if I went this way? Fucking controls. One, 1, 3, 3. No, the 4 would have to be here. I can't even change modes. 4 would then have to be here, and then I'd need 4 here, which would be 4 off the board. It doesn't work. So that can't be it. And I still need yellow to go this way anyway, so that's completely not it. If you can't do this geometry in your head, you are completely screwed. So, I'm at what, 40 minutes on this puzzle? And I haven't got a single thing. So, no, if this is the plus, which is this, this is just guessing. Because I know that once they've introduced this, there's going to be more like it. Everything from this point on in this game is going to be terrible. Because they're just going to do this over and over and over. What is the I would love... Okay, so how do you reach out to the designers and say, what is your logical path through this that's not just trial and error? One puzzle that destroyed an entire game. Because there's... It's just casing. If this joins up with red, which I'll do by joining it up with red. If this, the controls, if this joins up with red, which it would have to, I mean, there's multiple ways of doing that. So we just have to case that. Then we have to case that. Then we have to case that. Then we have to case, so we're casing all of the options for this joining up with red. There's no other way of doing this other than casing. You can't do cell counts, because while this has 10 in it, how can I prove that this can't connect up with red in some way? Apart from just case testing all of the geometry on the grid. What's the proof of that? I mean, yellow can't connect up with red because then there is no way this could pick up that shape. It's too big. So there's a border in here. Yellow can't connect up with purple for the same reason. So there's a border in here. But that doesn't do anything. Yellow has to grow. So it either grows into this cell, or it picks up green. If it picks up this, I would need to have a 4x2 somewhere that this could pick up. Which it could do. But only here. Or I'd have to pick up all of this. So this would have to pick up all of this. And this, so maybe I would need all of this. Like, am I just splitting this grid in half? Is there a way of just splitting this grid in half? It doesn't look like it, but it may be possible with just a couple of cells left over. How would I know? Like, if I reset the grid, there's 55 cells. So why couldn't I do 27, 27 with a 1 left over? Why isn't that possible? What's the logical proof to say that I couldn't have two 27 cell regions that somehow jigsaw through each other in this? This is a terrible puzzle. It's not a puzzle. It's a jigsaw puzzle that expects you to... This is really bad. I kind of want to end the stream and actually kill, like, for the first time ever, edit one of the streams to remove this puzzle from the stream because it is so bad. If yellow picked up blue, is that a shape that's replicable? Maybe. I mean, you'd kind of have to cut out the shape in paper and then try and flip it and rotate it on the screen to see whether it actually can fit somewhere. Is that what they expect you to do? Actually have pieces that you can put together and then hold up to the screen? Is that their design? And if so, why? Well, that's fucking stupid. That's correct. That's a mistake. So there's a border there. Okay, so this is correct. I have no idea how you get this shape. That's correct. That's correct. I don't know how. Don't know why. How is that correct? How is that correct? That doesn't even look vaguely similar. That's not even vaguely similar. I can't come into here. That's a mistake. So that has to border like that. If I come up here, that's a mistake. So there's a border here. I can't pick that up. That'll be a mistake. So that's a border. That's not even vaguely similar. Two, 4, 3. 2, 4, 3. That can't be it because I'd need to pick up a fourth cell here. So that's not it. So where does this get its 4? It doesn't. But it says this is correct. There's a 2. Where's the 2 for this? Followed by a 4. 2, 4, 3, 2, and that doesn't work either. If I did 2, 4, 3, nope, I can't connect this up. Where does this get its 4? To match that shape there. The only place I can see is there. Then that would need to be a 3. Which would go down to a 3 like that. So that would make that come down here. This isn't a deduction. Then that would be a 3. Meaning this has gone into basically that trapezoid, which is that trapezoid. And this doesn't work because then it comes down into here and you get that shape, which comes off the grid. So that's not it. But it's saying that's correct, which is bullshit. So that's the shape. That's the shape we're aiming for. Why? I don't know. I can't see how that fits in the grid. But it's saying this is correct. But let's start here. 1, 3, 3. So if I start here, we go 1 matching 1, 3 matching 3, then I need an offset 3, but that's 4 long, so it's not there. So let's start here. 1 matching 3, matching an offset 3, matching an offset 3, matching an offset 3. But this is 1, so 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, this is so stupid. So this is 1 with 1, 2, which is in the center, 3, which is all off to the side, 4, which is in the center, 5, which is all off to the side, 6, which is all off to the side, and then 7, which is offset. Wow. Are you... So that means this is that. How is that in any way a logical solve? I don't understand. I do not understand. The next couple of puzzles better be something that can redeem this, or I'm just going to delete the game. And I suspect I'm going to end up deleting the game. Which is a real shame, because this had been amazing. Yeah, I don't even want to continue. Like this 2x2 can't do that. It breaks that cell. It can't do that. It breaks everything. It can't do that. It breaks that cell. So this 2x2 does that. Which means we get that. And that's forced. Which means that is forced because I need to put the U in somewhere. We've got that now locked in. That is a single. I'm sorry, that was just terrible. This can't go this way because then this would come up and there'd be no way to complete that piece. So there must be a border there, which means this goes this way and down or this way and down, and it can't go this way and down. So if this goes this way, that would have to happen and it can't. So that is a piece. This then comes up and must become part of a P, which can't do that or that is wrong. So that's the P, which means this has to come out. So that last one was just bad. So now this piece I can't do it there. I could do it there. I can't go up and do it because I'd need to do that. I could go down, can't go right, I can't go left, or it could be the center. So it's either there or there. Either way, that is orange. And I'm not seeing the continuation of that. So maybe this. Well, this must form a long L. I can't do that because I'd run into this. So it's 3 horizontal must be that. Because it's got a 3 vertical and a 3 horizontal. And I can't get the 3 horizontal in any of those. And I can't go that way. So this must actually do that. Which makes these singles. Which means this comes out and I can't just go up. So there's the L piece. Problem with this is if I do that, I end up with the correct shape on those. Well, I might not on that. But if I do this, they're all the correct shape as well. So if I do that, if we end up with a border doing that and that, what's the problem with doing an L piece like that? Because that would come up and connect. So that would come up and that's a problem. So the T piece must center here because otherwise this would be come up, be part of the L, come up and then complete the L and I'd need another border there. That doesn't work. So this must center here. And now this comes up and must complete like that. And that completes the puzzle. I really don't like these. The 4 must come up. The 2 must come up and is done. The 2 must come out and is done. The 3 must come out. The 5 must come out and come out. The 3 must come out and is done. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I haven't checked this. In here, 5, 9. Oh, hang on. I need 1, 2, 3, 6, 10. I need 12. And that's what I've got. So everything must be assigned to a region. So there's the 5. The 3 must come out. That completes the 5, completes the 3. The 2 must take that and the 4 is done. The 6 must... Okay, let's do this again. 14, 16, 22, 25, 35. Hang on, did I count wrong? 14, 16, 19, 25, 35. So there's 1 cell left over somewhere. I'm going to check that again. 14, 16, 19, 25, 35. There's 1 cell left over somewhere. The 6 must come out. The 2 must come out and is done. The 3 must come out. The 3 must come out and is now done. The 6 comes out. The 2 comes out and is done. The 6 comes out. Let's make some distinctions here. This 6 must come out. So let's make that a different color. This 6 comes out. The 2 comes out and is done. The 6 now must come out and must continue to come out. Let's give it a different color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and is done. 5, 6 and is done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 3 must come out and is done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and is done. The 3 is done. The 2 is done, and that completes the puzzle. The 2 comes out and is done. The 5 must come out at least that far, which completes the... No. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, I did that wrong. And I may have done the previous ones wrong, although I didn't run into number of the same type. This 5 must come out. This 5 must come out to at least there. So the 2 does come out and is completed. Now this 5 must come out and then come down and can't link up. So there is a border there, and this 5 must come out and this 5 must come out. The 2 is now done, and that 5 comes out and completes, and this 5 comes out and completes. The 2 is now done. The 5 comes out one more. This 5 comes out and must continue. The 2 completes, the 5 continues, and the 5 completes. I'm sorry, that Palisade puzzle has just really annoyed me. I don't think I've sworn like that without warning on the channel before. I've never been so angry. So these are part of the same region. So these are part of the same region, and this is part of a different region. So the green must come out. This is part of a different region. So the green must continue. This is part of a different region. The green must continue. This is part of a different region. The green must continue. This is part of a different region. Green must continue. This is part of a different region. Green must continue. This is different. Green must continue. Green must get out. But I've only got 10 yellows to play with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've only got 3 more yellows to play with. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've only got 3 more yellows to play with. So green must take all of those, letting that be yellow. Otherwise, I'm not going to get enough greens. Green must come through here, making that yellow. This must be yellow. Green comes through and connects up. Let's make the green darker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's all of the yellows that I can do, and that completes the puzzle. That one was good. What was up with that Palisade puzzle? I really do not like. So the 3 must come out. Okay, this one's tricky. The 2 must come out and is complete. The 2 must come out and is complete. Yeah, that's kind of cool. There are 20 places left to fill. 1, 2, 4, 6. So one of these 2s must pick up a cell that's not on at least one. 3, 3, 3, and one of the 3s. So 3, 6, 9, 12. 14, 16, 18, 20. But that's not right because I've already picked up those. So 3, 6, 9. I don't see it. One of the cells, one of the empty cells, there's 4 empty cells. This cell must be picked up by a 3. This one, however, could be picked up by a 2. If I pick up 2 cells with 3s, I'd have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hang on, how is that going to work? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hang on, we've got a problem here. There's a count issue. Is it possible only to pick up one more cell with 3s? Because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. How do I only pick up one more cell with 3s? Because if I don't, I have to pick up 3 more cells with 3s. No, I have to pick up all 4, and that's not possible. So I have to pick up only one more cell with 3s. And only one more cell with 3s. And it has to be that one. So this has to be part of a 2 region. Because this has to be part of 3 regions. And this has to be part of a 2 region. And now we're broken. So I don't understand. Hang on, let me think about this math again. This is 22 cells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, 13, 14, 15. I can't get all of them though. So I can only pick up one more cell in 3 regions. Those are the only cells I can pick up in 3 regions. So all of the others must be in 2 regions. But that breaks. So if I made a mistake at the top, this has to come out, that's forced. This has to come out, that's forced. Sure. Right. So that's a single. So that's a 2. Right. Low-hanging fruit deductions that are incredibly important. And that works now. So I was right about the 3s, but not the way I thought I needed to be. So this needs to be part of a 3 region. This needs to be part of a 3 region. This has to be the single now, I think. But I've got the... If this goes across, I've got the wrong count of cells down here. So this has to go down. This then goes across. This goes up. This goes across. And that completes the puzzle. Okay, you were right. I missed a really important thing there. Thank you, Puck. I'm sorry. This stuff over here, I don't like them. I really don't like them. Okay, I should roll that back and explain what I was doing. Let's just restart. Have to draw a border opposite a border. That forces those to go through because I can't have any more borders. Must draw a border opposite a border. That forces those to go through because I can't have any more borders. And I'm only working with 2s and 3s. Must draw a border over, same logic. Now, this can't be a 3 long, so it's a 2 long. This can't be a 3 long, so it's a 2 long. That's now a 3 long. Now, if this came down here as a 2 long, this would be an isolated cell. So this has to go across as a 2 long, making that a 3 long. This has to go up as a 2 long, making that a 3 long, because if it was a 2 long, I'd have an isolated cell, making a 2 and a 3. That's the logic. There is no more borders here. No, that doesn't force that to be a T-piece, but it does mean that happens. I'm kind of over this. This is the same logic, isn't it? No. Oh, hang on. Every piece must be this shape. So that has to continue. I've missed the shape bank. So this has to be that shape. There's no other way of fitting it. That must be the T-piece now, which must complete this way. This has to come out. Now, I don't have a border yet. But if I went up, I'd need both of those to be a border. So the only way I can make a single border is that way and make it that. No, that doesn't work. No, that's not true. If I did a border here, then that's broken because I can't get out here. So the border is on the left or the right. So this must come up, and it must come up 4. And if I went this way, I can't complete the shape in here. So it must go that way. Then I can complete the shape in here, and then that's a 4. And I can see how this works by, if I came down here, this is the wrong shape. So it has to come down here, and then I just split that in half. But again, that doesn't feel very logical. These Palisade puzzles do not feel logical at all. They just don't. If I drew that in, there's no way to do a P. If I drew that in, you can't have a P. And if I drew that in, you can't have a P. So in order to not have a urinary tract infection, you have to go that way. And up one more. And then I really just stopped caring. If it goes this way, I can't fulfill a P in here, so it has to go that way. So that's it. I didn't, but... Now this is a single, which either goes up or down, but this comes up and then has to form a 2x2, so it's there. This has to come out and then create a 2x2. This has to now come up and do a 2x2. This has to come down and do a 2x2. This is a 2x2 that then must come out. This is a 2x2 that then must come out. This is a 2x2 that must come out. This is a 2x2 that comes out. This is a 2x2 and I'm not sure which direction it goes. This is a 2x2 and I'm not sure which direction it goes. But I can see it by just turning around and saying that has to be the 2x2. Therefore it's that, that, and that. I don't like... Like, if it had been all of those ones without that horrible guessing one, and I still don't know how that was supposed to be logically proven. These high difficulty ones here, I'm just completely dreading. So what's the logic here? Anywhere you have a border, you can't have a border opposite it. Hey, Kana. I've come across the first puzzle in this that I actively hated. So if I came in here, I'd have to have a border here and a border here, which would take it this way. And does that work? No. If I came this way, I'd need a border here, and it would be a square. This would just be a square. And if I came this way, this would just be a square. Does this have to be a square? Right, the border is either here or here. It can't be any other way. Because if I put a border here, I can't put the border here because then blue would come this way and I'd have two blue. So the border, I can't do the border this way because blue would come in and I'd have two blue. So the border is either like this, making this a new color, or like this, making this blue. And the same is happening here. But how do I use that? Shape bank. Sorry, I hadn't even realized the shape bank. Hadn't even realized the shape bank. So right, border there, border there, border there, border there, border there. So now this is another shape, which draws a border there. So I'm so angry at this game right now because of that one puzzle that I spent, what, an hour on? And I still solved it by putting something in and hitting check progress, putting something in and hitting check progress, putting something in and hitting check progress. And then when it was solved, proving that it was actually true. I didn't do any form of solving on it. I'm so angry at that puzzle. So if this was a square, what would come into that cell? There's nothing that could reach that cell. So this one can't be a square. This one has to have a border here, and blue must come into here, making that a border. And now this is another color, meaning there's borders there. And if this came into here, that would need three borders, so it can't. So that must come up, completing that. And now this must be a square, because if it wasn't, there'd be something coming out here, and that would need three borders. So that is a square, and that completes green. We're done. Right, that's a thing. Kana, honestly, I've never sworn so badly without a warning on the channel before. Not on this one. Like, I honestly ended up... I've asked people, what's the logical solve? But I literally ended up putting in stuff and then saying, does it connect to this? Hit check. Broken. Okay, try the other one. Hit check. Yes. Okay, put this cell in. Hit check. Broken. Roll that back. Put in this cell. Hit check. Correct. And I did that for every... It was so... I'm so angry at it. So this is a border because it has to go this way or this way. So this can't be a border. I'm really not enjoying these puzzles now. The Palisade ones, I'm really not enjoying. So either both of these are blue, or that's a blue which comes into here, which doesn't work. If purple went into here, then this would be a blue, which would then come into here, and that would be the wrong shape. So purple must be a square, meaning blue takes that. And now this must take that, because I can't put a border opposite, opposite a border. And I must put a border opposite no border. But the only thing that can take those is orange, so that's a 2x2. And this can't be a 2x2, so this has to come out and do that, which completes the puzzle. I'm so angry at that puzzle. Like, I played this tonight because I wanted to relax into the game, and so angry. So that must be a shape because I'm only working with one shape, but this must come out now. And I can't go down, that would be the wrong border shape. So that has to come across. That must have that. So this is that. And it's the only thing that can take that. There must be a border here, which means this must go this way. That has to dead end. So it goes up or down. Now, if it went down, do I have the right count of cells in here? I'd have 10, which is the wrong count of cells. This must go up. And if I did that, this would have to do that, and that is the wrong count of cells. So this must do that, making that the shape. Now this must come out, and this must come down. And if I did that, we're trapping in dark blue. So that is all one. That is all one. That must come up and complete, and that's the puzzle. That was a 3. I think the one I got stuck on for 45 minutes was a 3. So whichever way these corners go are going to go into something that ends. So each of these corners is a 2, because if it goes that way, it runs into that. And the same if it goes that way. So each of these is running into a 2. But I don't know what that's going to do. This is a T piece because I've already got... Well, it start that way because I've already got my one border. Now, if this goes down, I end up with that border, which could mean that goes down and I have a border there. Or it could go across and I have a border there. It doesn't actually prove anything about the shape. But if I do go across and end up... Well, actually, no, this could just be that. That would work fine. That's actually no problem. But what happens if this goes across? Like, I don't even need to do anything there. These could go down, or they could go across. I'm not sure about any problem there at all. That could come out, that could come out, and I'm not seeing any obvious problem. So I don't see anything I can do at the top at this point, apart from knowing that these are both two pieces that are going to terminate. So there's something happening at the bottom. Probably. Now this is a T-piece, so it's complete. Now this can't be a 2x2, and it can't be a T, right, shapes. This must come out, and it can't be a T-piece because that would be the wrong shape. And it can't be a 2x2, so that ends. And this can't be a 3x3 across the top. Shape bank, shape bank, shape bank. But this now must do that. And it can't be a T-piece, so that's a 2x2 because I'd already had all my borders. And this can't have its border there. Yes, it can. No, it can't, because this is now the wrong count of cells. And it can't have its border there. Yes, it can, because that can be it. And then this is a 2-piece, and we're done. Right, okay. Starting to understand. Now, this has to be a 2-piece, because I can't make a 2x2, or it could be a T. Now, it can't be a T-piece. The only way this could be a T-piece is that, and I'd need an extra border around this piece, which I can't do. So that's a 2-piece, and now this has to be at least that, which means it's a 2x2 because I can't make a T-piece out of that. So that's a 2x2 because I can't grow it any other way. This now has to be at least a 2, which means that's a 2. That has to be at least a 2, meaning that's a 2, and I'm broken. So I made a huge leap after I did this 2x2. But that 2x2 had to be correct. But that has to be a 2. Meaning that has to be a 2. Meaning that has to be a 2 which ends. And I'm broken. This was correct. This had to be a T-piece. This could only be a 2-piece. It can't be a T, because if this was a T-piece, then that would have the wrong number of borders. So this has to be a 2. Once I've done that, this has the right number of borders and must do that. I can't make it a T-piece, because to be a T-piece, it would need to come into here or into here, and it can't do it. So this must be a 2x2. So this becomes a 2x2 and is complete. Now what do I do here? I can't make this a 2. This has to be a 2-piece and end because I can't make it a 2x2 and I can't make it a T-piece. This has to be a 2-piece and end. But this has to come out now. Right. Now I can't come into here, because this would have the wrong number of borders. That gives me that border. Let's not complete this. But it does give me that border, which does give me that, which still must be a 2 by 2 because I can't make the T-piece. So that's the 2 by 2. I was wrong here. That's my problem. Because now this is still a 2 by 1. This is still a 2 by 1. This can't be a T-piece, so no, I'm still broken. No, I'm not. That's a T-piece and that's a 2 by 1. That's where I went wrong. Okay, this is fine. All of these have been fine. But that puzzle earlier, Jesus. Now, can I do something like that? I don't see why not. Now, if I was to do something like... Okay, so I've got two options here. Don't I? If I do that, that comes into here, which would then need another border and would then need to come out. Except that doesn't work because I'm only working with 2 by 2s and 3 by 1s. So the border must be there. So this comes out and is a 3 by 1. This has got its borders, so this is a 2 by 2. And I've got the same, well, similar logic here. That must have a border there. So this is a 3 by 1, and that is complete. This is a 3 by 1 because it has to come out. And that cell can't be a 3 by 1 in any order. So that's a 2 by 2. So, count of cells, 21 cells. If this was part of a 2 by 2, that's broke. That cell there is trapped. So this can't be part of a 2 by 2. So it's part of a 3. Yeah, let's look at this. If this was part of a 2 by 2, that cell can't get out. So this is part of a 3 by 1. But if it's a 3 by 1 that goes up, those are trapped. So that is a 3 by 1. Great. If this is part of a 2, that cell there. So now we're looking at 18 cells. I can see a solution, but I want to prove it logically. The solution I can see, by the way, is 2 by 2, 2 by 2, 3 by 1, 3 by 1, 2 by 2. That just fits. But I don't want to put it in just because it fits. I want to prove it. If either of these cells are a 3 by 1, then both of those need to be a 3 by 1. Because I would leave the other cell orphaned. So if this is a 3 by 1, I can't go across, I'd have to go down, and that would then have to be a 3 by 1. Then these cells, well, this cell here, if it was a 3 by 1, it would have to go down and it would orphan those cells. So this would then have to be part of a 2 by 2. And that cell is orphaned. So neither of these can be, or that can't be a 3 by 1. That has to be part of a 2 by 2. That, I feel, is fairly logical. It's chainy but logical. These chains are getting too long. Now, and I don't think they're designed to be proved logical. I think at this point they're designed to be, if you can see a solution, just put them in. But that's not puzzling. At least it's not to me. Like, they did state that all of the puzzles had a logical proof. But I'm finding that, like, that one that I complained about wasn't a logical proof puzzle. I don't know. So if this was part of a 3x1, it would have to go that way. Then this would have to be a 3x1 going that way. Then this would have to be a 3x1 going that way. And that cell is orphaned. So that doesn't work either. So this cell here must be part of a 2x2. Now this cell must be part of a 3x1. Now this cell must be part of a 3x1, and that completes the puzzle. I have turned 10 windows silver, apparently. And even mousing over the boxes, it doesn't actually pop up. Hiding these puzzles is so dumb. Okay. What? Again, how is this not just casing? This has turned into a casing game, and I don't like it. I'm never going to play Islands of Insight. So if it goes this way, this goes up and then ends. If it goes this way, then it ends. But this is the row that is interesting. It's either those three or it's those three. If it's these three, then this must run into here. This is forming a T-piece. This is basically solve the puzzle without putting in color and see which way breaks. This is just casing. Any one of these that runs into another one forms a 2-piece. Whichever ones runs into these forms a 3-piece. So if I do a 3-piece here, that becomes 2, that becomes 2, that becomes 2. And then I don't know. But this is just solving the puzzle without actually putting the stuff in. Whichever way this goes, it forms a T-piece that... Is it between these? Because if it goes this way, the border probably has to be here. Because if this goes this way, that's broken. Because... Or is it? Because if I put the border here, and then in those two, that could do that. What's wrong with that? Absolutely nothing. It means this has to be vertical, but that's fine. And then the count might be wrong, but so what? That's solve the puzzle and see if it breaks. It's not... If it doesn't go into there, then we'd have that, and that's a border, and then one of these two would be a border, forcing something like that. And again, that would have to be vertical. If this doesn't go into here, yeah, it breaks the corner. So these must be connected. Which means there is a border here. Oh, so these are getting way too casey. If the border is here, I mean, so what with all of this? It can't go up and down. So I can't put the border here. So it must come down, which draws in those borders. Yellow can't come into here now. So that's the border, and yellow must come up here, which draws in those borders. Yellow can't come into here, which draws in that border, and it is that shape. So I found the right shape by mistake. I'm enjoying this game less. Oh, good God. No, I never want to do that puzzle. I just never want to do that puzzle. What are these? Mismatch and precision. Well, we've got that, and then we've got that, because I can't have the same shape. This has to come out and be that shape. Well, hang on. If that shape is the border between the two shapes, so that has to be that. I just don't like these. And we're going to start getting ones with more and more difficulty on those, and I just am loathing the concept. This must come out. This must come out. If this turned and finished, that would have the wrong shape. So this must continue up. If this went up, it could potentially finish. Yeah, I know, but it's not what I like to do. I think I'm really going to have to get someone who is... So I need to respond to this. Yeah, and because I know I'm going to run into more Palisade puzzles as I go, it's why I think I really want to just stop playing the game. Because they're just... That one I did was just so badly designed, it's kind of ruined them for me forever. Like, I look at this and I just don't want to explore it. Because I... So if this turns up, it could end. I can't make it go one more and turn up. That would be the wrong shape. If I made it do that and turn up, then that's possibly going to break as well. I can't make it do that because that'll be the wrong shape. So it either turns up and ends, or it goes all the way here and ends. And if I do that, I think this is a problem. Because then this is a bifurcation game at this point. Because then this would require... Yeah, because this then requires this to come up, and that's the wrong shape. So this must turn up here and end. Which means this must come out this way. But it can't continue this way. Because if I came down, this is isolated. And if I came out and ended, this is isolated. And if I came out and ended, this is isolated. So this must come up, and we're still broken. No, this is broken. This is just broken. These are just dumb. Blue must come up. It can't turn. That's the wrong shape. It must come up again. This must come out. If I come out again, that's broken. If I come out again and do that, that ends that shape, and now I must do that. If I end that there, what do I do with this shape? I come out as a new shape, and it's broken. If I go up, I still have to come out as a new shape, and I'm broken. So that doesn't work because that is broke. That breaks that shape. This is just casing now. So if I don't do that, one of those is broken. But if I do this, this is broken. Because this now must go up. And it must bend, so it must bend there. And it can't continue, or maybe it can continue. But this can't connect to that shape, so there's a border there. And now this can do that, maybe? No, it can't. Because that would give it an extra border. So that doesn't work. So this has to go that way. And then end. So that, because if I don't end, I'm coming across and trapping this in. Oh, no, that doesn't have to end. But it does have to end there. But it doesn't have to end there. But this now comes out, and if I turn up, I'm isolating those. So it has to do that. And I don't know about this. Just don't care about these anymore. But now there's no border here, so this must come up, and that can't be part of green anymore. If this comes up, it could go that way. Hey, Eric. One puzzle in this game has ruined it completely. Blue now must do that. which completes green, this must come out to here. If it came out to here and ended, that would isolate these cells. There's no shape that could fill them. So that must do that. The only thing that can take that is that shape, which ends it. There's no way to grow it. Which means this shape can't have a border opposite. It must take that. And we're broken again. This is wrong. So we go back to casing at the beginning again, because it's just a casing game now. There's no deductions to be made. This has to come out. I mean, let's just restart. This has to come out. It can't turn. This would be the wrong shape. Or continue, which would still make it the wrong shape. It must continue up. There is now a border here, which means there's no border here, and this must come this way. So that is a shape. I just don't care, though. This must come out. If I did that, this is the wrong shape. If I did that, this is trapped, and I can't connect it to that. So this must come up and end. This must connect up. So this must go up, and now it must end. This can't come into here. And now these are those cells. And if I don't end, no, I could do that, and that could be another L. Or I could end there, still put an L in there, and come out here. But that must do that, surely. And this now comes out. It can't come up, so it must do that. And then it must bend. So that is an L. That can't come up, but I don't know whether it goes one more or not. Now this has to come out. If this was to continue, this would be the wrong shape. So if this was to continue, that would either end or it'd go through and it'd still be the wrong shape. So that must end. This is now that shape, which means it can't come down. So that does complete that as an L. It can't come into here. So this is another shape, which must bend. And I'm broken. Except I'm not. That could come down. But this can't come into any of those, or the shape would be wrong. So this is another shape. And it can't come down, so that comes to there. And what we must have now is that and that. Okay, I'm going to stop playing because I'm actively hating this at the moment. But the concept of coming back to Palisade levels is probably going to mean I don't want to come back to this game. The fact that I know I've got Palisade levels waiting for me is probably going to mean that I won't want to come back to this game. Hey, Frediclin. Because that one level, wherever it was... no. It was somewhere around here. That one. That level. That one puzzle has made me not want to continue the entire game. Yeah. I've still got 17 Palisade levels. I just don't care. I just don't want to do them. I thought they had it I thought they had it that it would tell you what level you were doing, but apparently not. I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. The thought of coming back to these levels... Yeah, no, this one puzzle made me absolutely hate the game. Because the concept they introduced at the start was at no point do you need to guess or do anything like that. You can play with the information you have and make a logical deduction. But with this one, you couldn't. If you can show me from the beginning class where you've got the information you've been given about these all being connected and these all being connected, these being connected and these being connected, that you can then prove or disprove the next step. So the next step that you would make can be proven or disproven without having to then turn around and say, well, if I did this and then 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 this, then I couldn't make the shapes. I don't want chains of Like, in order to make a shape that fits in, if I do all of this sort of stuff, then there's no possible matching shape, which you can then tell by having to copy the shape and rotate it and realize that there isn't things. That's not a logical solve. That is case testing with really long chains and then seeing by like chopping it out and rotating and seeing if there's something in there. That's not a logical solve. That is not saying the next deduction is logically provable. That's just case testing. That's not logic. There is a difference between logic and case testing. Case testing is basically just getting a computer to try over and 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 over until you can prove it. If you're wanting to prove something logically, you need to have a structured way of being able to demonstrate the way it is. It's like the whole, prime number thing. A lot of prime numbers can be proven by like just getting a computer to case test through billions and billions and billions of values, of exponents and stuff like that. Or you come up with mathematical concepts and mathematical constructs, which you can then use to eliminate entire chunks from being primes by having a mathematical logic behind it. But if all you're doing is throwing brute force at it, that's not logic. The geometry on this one was just case testing and just not logical at all, which is not what the game has been sold at. I hated the game after this puzzle. Hopefully that will calm down, but I'm not going to be returning to this for a while because of this puzzle. This one right here. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Bad puzzle. Really bad puzzle. That one puzzle would make me not recommend this game. Like, with the 20 odd hours of amazing fun out of it, I would say do not buy this game because of that one puzzle. Because this is supposed to be something that has been, it's not as advertised. Yeah. I mean, I'm having a bad week and I'm probably more grumpy than I should be, but that was just bad. Yeah, sorry, Missing Deck. I mean, it's really good to see you here, but I have to stop playing. That one puzzle, just bad, just terrible. The rest of them have been mostly okay, but after doing that one, everything after that has been soured. So I'm going to have to stop playing and try and return to it when I'm in a better mood, because the 4-hour stream I did earlier today was amazing. Like, I just kept wanting to keep playing. I had to stop because I was starting to feel weak through lack of food. Whereas now I'm just angry. Yeah, I hope so, Kana. I really do. Like, the stream from earlier today, stream 5, amazing. Like, stream 1 through 5, absolutely amazing. I actually watched stream 1 with Maggie earlier tonight because she was interested in the game while I was talking about it. So we brought up stream 1. She's actually had a really bad day. We had to call an ambulance for her. She's actually had a really bad day. But she's in bed, couldn't get out of bed today. So we just sat with her in bed and we watched the first stream together, and it was great and she's really enjoying it. So I came home really excited to continue, and then I hit that puzzle and I'm just angry. Thank you everyone for watching. I'm really sorry. Thank you, Puck, for being so supportive. I really do appreciate you jumping in. I will, Missing Deck, I absolutely will. Thank you, Puck, for being so supportive. You're not someone I've seen on the channel before, but I really hope you jump in on some of the other stuff. There's a lot of really good puzzles on the channel, not just the Artisan of Glimmith. Frida, what is it? Friedrich Klen. I don't think I've seen you around before either. Whether you found me because of this or because of the other puzzles on the channel, I hope you stay around. Please don't take today as indicative. I do try and have a better time than this. But yeah, sometimes you just have a bad day with puzzles, and tonight was absolutely one of those. Thank you everyone for being here. Oh, thank you, Puck. Really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. I will try and keep up the good content. And there's, as I said, there is thousands and thousands of Sudoku on the channel, and I try and keep them at a really high quality. So hopefully you'll find something there that interests you. Thank you everyone for watching. I really need to go and get some sleep because I've got a really busy week coming up. I thank you for joining me for Artisan of Glimmith. If you really want to see me get angry and swear on this channel, which I don't normally do, go and check me trying to solve that puzzle. It started about 15 minutes into this stream and lasted for about an hour. Real grumpy BremSter. But you can also skip it as well. I might try and find it and put chapter marks in. Thanks everyone. And as always, good luck with your solving. Bye all.